Hello there, my friends. Welcome to my Obi-Wan Kenobi review, one of my most anticipated Star Wars projects of all time. Well, to be fair, it's probably my most anticipated project of all time in general, whether that's Marvel, DC, Star Wars, Halo, etc. It's just, Obi-Wan has such a special place in my heart. The prequel, Star Wars in general, has such a special place in my life, and I'm so excited that I get to share that with you guys. I want to start off the video by saying a huge thank you to everyone who supported my channel, watched this show with me, watched my reactions, and got to discuss everything and be hyped for everything that was going on over the course of the last 5 weeks. I feel so lucky, even though I'm a small channel, that I can react, discuss, review things that I love as much as a lot of you do, and have this community that we just love and support and pour all of our passion into, and it means so much to be a part of it, even if it's just a very, very small percentage of the Star Wars community. It just makes me so happy, fills me with so much joy, and it fills me with enough power to fill up an infinite amount of high ground. So I don't want to drag on this intro too long. There's a lot of things I loved about this show, and there's very few things I didn't like about this show. So let's just jump straight into the review.
My duty is to the boy.
What about your duty to his sister? She's as important as he is.
So the first thing I want to talk about is the plot, or the narrative, story, however you would like to refer to this. The show follows a tired, troubled Obi-Wan Kenobi set about a decade after the events of Star Wars Revenge of the Sith Episode 3. Obi-Wan is currently on Tatooine looking over the young Luke Skywalker, who is about 10 years old at this time, who is currently in the care of Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru, of course. During his very distant daycare, he gets an urgent message from his old Clone Wars pal, Bail Organa, saying that his daughter,
Princess Leia Organa,
has been kidnapped in the most cringe and slow-paced chase scene I have ever seen in Star Wars. It was almost as bad as the speeder bike scene from Book of Boba Fett. Look, I never did well in track and field, so maybe I don't have a good understanding of the situation here, but how fast is this girl running to where two bounty hunters can't catch up to her? C-3PO could have caught up to her quicker.
Wait!
Okay, this is what I find really funny. How much more powerful in the Force was the first branch than the second branch to where he could not get through? I just love the look on his face, like, oh man, not again. Like, is this something that has happened before in his life? He just looks so disappointed. And then there's this bounty hunter who tripped on gravity or something. I have no idea how she tripped. I just love the way she looks at Leia through the trees. She's like, damn, she has the high ground.
Obi-Wan has taught you well.
I just could not help but notice so many little things in that chase scene that bothered me. I know she's a little girl, and the people chasing her were not trying to hurt her. That was not their job. Their job was to deliver her in one piece to Reva, who we'll get to in a second. But I just can't help but just notice like a little twig or tree would get in their way and completely, I'm rambling on. You guys get the point. Anyways, Obi-Wan reluctantly agrees to help Bail Organa and rescue Leia, because that is another twin who is equally as important as Luke. Obi-Wan and Leia form an amazing bond over the course of the show, and we are reunited with some familiar faces. We meet some new people, some fake Jedis, and it was just an absolute wild adventure, and there's so much to talk about, but that is the gist of the plot without getting into spoilers, and I will be talking about spoilers, but that's like the best synopsis I can think of in a very condensed way. If we're talking about just the basics of the narrative here, I absolutely love what the writers did here. It completely makes sense why Obi-Wan would leave Tatooine to go rescue Leia, because as Bail Organa says, she's just as equally as important as Luke. And I think that is an excellent point that Obi-Wan really needed to hear, because although he's been so focused on Luke for all this time, Anakin had a completely separate child, and if for some reason Luke did not work out, he couldn't find any power converters and that turned him to the dark side, at least you have Leia to come in and support. I do think there were a lot of times the pacing of the show was very, very off, when it would make a lot of cuts that I did not think were necessary, and I kind of feel ruined the flow of a scene. Like, for example, when Obi-Wan and Anakin or Darth are having their rematch of the century, we keep cutting to Riva, which was a very uninteresting plot line for me, and it really took away from the fight, the severity, the intensity, the emotional impact that this fight had. And I kept like, no, go back, I'm watching this, I'm engaged. And then it would take me out to another plot that I knew was not going to go anywhere, because we know she's not going to kill Luke, because Luke is alive in 10 years. Speaking of Riva, we were introduced to a new Inquisitor, that being Third Sister. We were introduced to Fifth Brother, and some other female Inquisitor I don't remember, who was only in the show for like 5 seconds. But anyways, we're here to talk about Riva. Riva had a very uninteresting plotline for the first 4 episodes. I knew she was one of the younglings in that very opening scene of episode 1, which by the way was an absolute banger of a scene. My god, that was beautiful. I don't know why everyone gets so excited about Order 66 and seeing a lot of people die, especially younglings dying, but hey, it's a cool scene. Shoutouts to my boys in the 501st. Anyways, fast forward to part 5 and part 6, we see Riva get a little bit more emotionally involved in the story. We see where her anger is coming from. We see why she wants to hunt down Obi-Wan and take on Vader. And although we all knew that was not going to happen and end well for her, which it didn't, I can finally see where she was coming from. But at the same time, I don't think it was enough to justify her annoyance in the show. I was hoping by the end of the show we would have had a much more emotional connection with Riva, but I know that her youngling friends were slaughtered by Anakin, which is very sad, and I feel for her. That would suck. I would not want to be in that position at all. I just don't think that justifies doing all these unnecessary rambles and "where's Kenobi?" every 5 seconds. Like, bring me Kenobi, we aren't doing enough. Like, I get it, but just chill, dude. Just chill the F out. I just don't get why, if she hates Darth Vader so much and she knew he was Anakin, why does that justify going around and killing all these other Jedi and hunting all these other Jedi? You are mad at someone for killing your Jedi friends, yet you're over here being a hypocrite and killing a whole bunch of other Jedis. And I know she was doing this to gain favor with Vader, and I know she was trying to be the Grand Inquisitor, but why? She can kill Vader whether she's... Or sorry, let me rephrase that. She can attempt to kill Vader whether she's the Grand Inquisitor or not. I don't know if it was just because she was just trying to get close with Vader, which she did without even being the Grand Inquisitor in part 4, when he was like, I told you what would happen if you had failed me, which by the way was a very badass scene. I just don't think it flowed well narratively, and I think I see a lot of you agree with me on social media about this character and the story that Third Sister was involved in. I did really like the scene in part 6 where she says, "Have I become him?" and Obi-Wan says, "No, you have chosen not to." I thought that was a very beautiful scene, but it still didn't take away from the fact that I feel she didn't need to be in this show. I am still not interested in this character at all. I don't think I want a spin-off from this character, but I do believe the actress Moses Ingram did a fantastic job with what she had. I have no hate or distaste towards the actress herself. I thought she was great, and I just think that the writing for her character was poor. If we do see more of Third Sister, I hope it's with some better story, some better writing, and we see a little bit more of how she became an Inquisitor in the first place. I think that maybe if we had seen that and seen a little bit more of that emotional backstory, her character would have been a lot more enjoyable throughout the plot. So anyways, that was the only low ground I had with the plot as a whole. I pretty much loved everything outside of the Third Sister stuff, and I'm really glad that the Grand Inquisitor did not stay dead, because that was going to cause a lot of problems. I haven't finished the Rebels yet. I haven't even started Rebels yet, but I do know he's in Rebels, so I was like, yeah, I don't know about that. I'm going to go see how Star Wars Theory reacted to that, and sure enough, it was great.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Anakin. For all of it.
So the characters, there's a lot to talk about here. A lot of new characters and surprisingly a lot of returning characters, which I'm very excited to talk about. But right off the bat, my boy Ewan McGregor did a fantastic job as Obi-Wan Kenobi. I don't think I need to say that. But my god, Hayden Christensen returning as Vader. Although we didn't see a lot of him in this show, when he was there, you felt his presence. By far my favorite scene of the entire series is when Darth Vader / Obi-Wan, what the hell did I just say? When Darth Vader / Anakin looks at Obi-Wan and says, You
didn't kill Anakin Skywalker. I did.
and you just hear Hayden's voice mixed with James Earl Jones, and oh my god, it was chef's kiss. So yes, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Anakin Skywalker, Darth Vader was an absolute treat to see once again. I loved all the new Inquisitors sans Reva. I do think that Reva had a lot of writing issues, and I would have loved to see more of the other Inquisitors. Fifth Brother seemed really cool. The other female Inquisitor that was there for like 10 seconds seemed pretty chill, so I hope we see more of them in future Star Wars projects. Haja was a really fun inclusion in the story. He was definitely a very funny, very quirky fake Jedi, and is someone that I feel did have a honorable presence in the show. He definitely did come in clutch at the end when he talked to Leia for Obi-Wan, and I think that he definitely made up for the mistakes he made with using people for credits, even if he was helping them with magnets and whatnot. We did meet Tala, an ex-Imperial and turned Resistance member working for the Path, and I really did like her character. It's a shame to see that she died, but she died fighting for what she believed in, and one of the best lines of the show is when Third Sister says, "You're a traitor, this isn't who you are," and Tala replies with, "It's never who I was."
Betraying everything you are.
This was never who I was.
Then you die.
Uncle Owen, Aunt Beru were absolutely fantastic here. I'm so glad we got to see them again and see more of Luke's backstory, more of what life was like for Luke and watching over Luke for Aunt Beru and Uncle Owen, and I'm very glad that we got to see more of them, but I'm still very disappointed we still haven't gotten those power converters from Tashi Station. Bail Organa returning was so cool. I love seeing prequel characters show up and getting more of their backstory, and it makes me so sad knowing what happens to his character. I just hope we get to see more of him. Now there's one character I wanted to save for last because I do think they had the best impact on the show, and that is Leia Organa. I had no idea we were getting a younger Leia when I started watching Obi-Wan Kenobi. I did not check the cast listing. I did not see any trailers outside of the first one, so I was very shocked. I don't know if she was in any other trailers outside of the one I reacted to, but if she was, I'm glad I didn't watch those trailers because it was so cool to see, and the actress was an absolute perfect pick for Leia. She honored Carrie Fisher's Leia so well, while also carrying her own amount of storytelling and emotion and heart and passion and rebellion into this character, and I will always love what they did to Leia in this show because of this reason. And it ties into a scene in the finale where Obi-Wan says
Gifts from your father,
these are traits.
from your mother.
By far one of my favorite scenes in the entire show. I just think that including a young Leia and a young Luke was an absolute bold move. I didn't expect it, and I absolutely love that they did it. It was such a cool moment being a Star Wars fan who grew up with this franchise to see these characters in different medias, in different ages, and just getting more of them in general. So that ties into the last thing I want to talk about in terms of characters, and that's the relationships all of these characters have amongst each other. They all have different character relationships. Some are dynamic, some are round, some are static, and some are just absolute depressing like Obi-Wan and Anakin. I do think the best relationship we see in the show here is the development between Obi-Wan Kenobi and Leia. They definitely build upon each other, and it definitely makes sense why Leia named her son Ben. Leia also had a huge impact on Obi-Wan. We see how he changes throughout the show, and because of Leia, I think he became one step closer to the Alec Guinness Obi-Wan we see in A New Hope, Empire, and Return of the Jedi. Yeah, this section is going to be quite short. It was beautiful, it was emotional, it was amazing. Moving on.
Master Qui-Gon.
Well, took you long enough.
The last major thing I want to talk about here are callbacks, Easter eggs, all the little things that I picked up on. And the first thing I want to talk about before I forget is when Anakin is talking to Obi-Wan, and I mentioned this in my finale reaction, but when he's talking to him and the blue and red are covering his face because he's torn between Anakin and Darth Vader. And then he says, "You didn't kill Anakin Skywalker, I killed Anakin Skywalker." And then the red lightsaber light covers his face, and my freaking god, it's depressing, and I loved every second of it. I don't know why I love being depressed, but it was a good scene, and I'm so glad we got it, and I'm so depressed, and just depression sucks. I'm not crying, you're crying, okay? That was just, I'm sorry, Anakin, for all of it. Oh my god, it cuts so deep, though. Why does it cut so deep?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Anakin. For all of it.
I love seeing more of the Form 3 of Obi-Wan Kenobi's lightsaber stance. That was so cool to see evolve throughout the course of the show. I'm so happy we got Qui-Gon Jinn. How could I not mention him? We got to see Palpatine return. Oh my god, this show just gave me so much. I'm so happy we got that. We got flashback scenes. I'm just so happy we got that. And although I really wanted Clone Wars flashback scenes, I'm not going to be disappointed over something that was never going to be there in the first place. Plus, there's always the possibility they'll be in the Ahsoka show, which I think would be more fitting because Ahsoka is originally from the Clone Wars. And on top of that, there's rumors Hayden Christensen filmed scenes for those shows, or is currently filming scenes for those shows. So who knows? So final thoughts for Obi-Wan Kenobi. I absolutely loved it. It was one hell of a ride. There were a few things that definitely reached some low ground territory while watching the show, but I can overlook that with the amount of fun and emotion this show gave me. I am very pleased with what I got. It exceeded some of my expectations and didn't quite meet some of my expectations, but that's with every show, that's with every movie I've watched, and I'm very glad we got this show. I hope we see more of these characters. I really want to see more Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen, and although I do know this is a very limited series, it's a season 1 thing, and I think it ends in a perfect spot with Obi-Wan continuing Qui-Gon Jinn, I do think that it does leave the door open for a potential sequel, season 2. I just think that they're in a very good spot where whether they decide they want to proceed with this story or not. I want to hear from all of you though. Let me know what your favorite scene was from Obi-Wan Kenobi down in the comments below. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk about it. So yeah, that's about it for my review. I hope I didn't ramble on too long. There's some things I didn't really want to talk about that much because I talked about it a lot in my individual episodic reviews as I was reacting, and I just wanted to give all my final thoughts about this show in one video, and I do appreciate you all watching. If you like this, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you are new. Let me know what your favorite moment was down in the comments below once again. Thank you to my current patrons. Your support really does mean a lot. Full reactions to the entire Obi-Wan Kenobi series is on my Patreon. Link to that also in the description below. If you want to check out my edited YouTube reactions for Obi-Wan Kenobi, link to that will be in the description below as well. And with all that being said, I will see you guys in my next reaction to Star Wars.